Hello, welcome to Home Assistant's Year of the Voice, Chapter 5. Today it's going to be the last installment of our Year of the Voice. Don't worry, we're going to continue working on voice. It's just no longer going to be called Year of the Voice. Now, let's before we kick in, let's just do some quick introduction round so that you all know who's who. My name is Paulus Schoutse. I'm the founder of Home Assistant.
I'm Mike Hansen. I'm the founder of Raspy and the voice guy at Nabu Casa.
And my name is Jello, and I'm the founder of Nothing. I'm the product manager at Home Assistant.
Awesome. So today we have a lot of fun voice stuff for you. But I think it would be good to kind of reiterate where we came from, right? Like Year of the Voice, it was our goal for Home Assistant users to be able to use their own language, their own voice to control Home Assistant. And because of that, we've been building this whole year. We've been building two different things. One is we've been building the building blocks that make up a voice assistant, such that Home Assistant can facilitate voice and be able to control it. The second part is that around this, we've been building a community. And this is, of course, how we built every part of Home Assistant. We're a community-powered project. But this is important because voice is based on language. And there's a lot of languages in the world. The people that develop Home Assistant don't speak all the languages, but the people that use Home Assistant do. So together with those users, elevating them to contributors, which is like one of our core strengths, we've been able to build a really powerful, big voice community, bringing all the goodies today. And so, yeah, let's kick in.
Yeah, so it has been a busy year. It's been a great year, though. We've had 4 chapters prior to this, so I'm going to cover where we've been and where we are now. At the very beginning of the year, we started Home Assistant had basic text input in English only. You could turn devices on and off, set some colors and stuff. So chapter 1, we focused on expanding this to more languages. I don't know if it's obvious, but I don't speak most languages. So this was a huge community effort. To date now, we're up to 56 different languages with varying levels of support, different kinds of sentences you can speak or say, and over 200 contributors. So we're closing in actually on the total number of languages that Home Assistant supports, which is awesome. So that's great. That's continued and will continue next year. Chapter 2 is where we put the voice in Voice Assistant. We added speech to text, which is when you say something to Voice Assistant, and text to speech, which when it says something back to you. So for our Home Assistant Cloud subscribers, this all becomes an automatic thing. You get really high quality speech to text, text to speech through Microsoft Azure. You get over 130 languages and dialects, and it's super fast, which is great. So that's, if you're a subscriber, you have that built in already, and you could get started today. For folks wanting to run things locally, we added options too with OpenAI's Whisper for speech to text. And for text to speech, we ended up not finding a great text to speech system that was local and performant and didn't sound like a robot. Not everybody wants to sound like a robot. So we put together our own text-to-speech system called Piper. This works great on a Raspberry Pi 4, and it actually sounds really well for running on this tiny little system. It now supports 30 languages, over 100 voices, and we've even had members of the community volunteer to record voice data sets. We've paid some people to record in professional studios so we could get really high-quality data. Others just at home. You read about 2 hours worth of audio, and we can create a voice. These are put into the public domain, so it doesn't just benefit Piper and Nabu Casa, it benefits everybody. And our goal is to add as many languages as we can find native speakers of who are willing to donate.
Yeah, this was actually really cool because, with text to speech, with speech to text, you need many different voices, many different samples, encoded text. But with text to speech, you actually only need a single speaker, right? You need a single speaker producing a lot of data, but then it's possible to just generate that voice and then allow other people to generate voices, like use text to speech. And so the reason why we were paying recording time is because for certain languages, they were underrepresented in the public data sets that were available in a way that we couldn't build voices on them. So for example, Hungarian was one of them. There was not enough voices for it. So, we spent some money on this. So to get a Hungarian person, a native speaker inside a professional recording studio, and then build a voice out of that.
Yeah, we'd love to. We're going to continue doing this. So you can contact us at voice@nabucasa.com if you're interested in contributing your voice.
Yeah.
So also in chapter 2, we introduced our first hardware for Assist, which is what we call the voice assistant and Home Assistant. And so the first one that we showed off was this M5 Atom Echo Smart Speaker Development Kit. Say that 10 times fast. And it's a little $13 ESP-based device. We started off with push to talk, so it's got a big button there on the front. You could hold it down, say your voice command, let it go, and it would talk back to you. Pretty cool. This thing's cheap and easy to use. We also showed off the analog phone, so you could use an old school phone hooked up to an adapter for a voice over IP, and you could pick it up, have a conversation. We had an OpenAI integration too, so you could actually talk to ChatGPT with this.
This was I just hosted a birthday party last weekend, and the kids loved it. Like nonstop, somebody was talking to like Super Mario.
So you could change the prompt and have all sorts of things. Really cool. Chapter 3, we went on to add support to Android. So for the Android watches and the Android phones, you can set Assist to be your default assistant. And on the watch, you can just hold the single button, talk to Assist, and have it talk back to you. And on the phone, you can hold down the home button or the side button on some phones and do the same. So it's baked into the app. Really cool and easy. And there are plans to add this to iOS. There was recently an iOS developer hired, Bruno. So that this will be extended at some point to that. So that was chapter 3. Chapter 4 was the big one. So since January, people have been asking, when can we have wake word? We want to wake up the device with something like Alexa, okay, Google, hey Siri, see how many people's devices I can trigger here. And we took kind of a circuitous route to get there, as the kids say. And one of our main things was we wanted our wake word system to incorporate the Home Assistant values. And so we wanted something open source, and we really wanted something that could be customizable. And that's on small devices like this. Usually, I mean, this one doesn't run wake word, but other ESP-based devices do. But they're closed source systems, and you can't really customize them without paying a lot of money. So what we did was we decided, okay, let's run wake word detection in Home Assistant itself, because you usually have it on a device like a Pi 4 that's powerful enough to do this. And we partnered with David, who makes a project called Open Wake Word. It's a great open source project, lets you customize wake words, runs on a Pi 3 class of system or so. And so that worked out great. He built a notebook for us. You can run for free on Google Colab. There's a tutorial for that we'll link to. And you can customize your own wake word. So that was awesome. And we have support for more. We'll talk about that a little bit later. So
I think that's also on the wake word, like the generating your own wake word. When we launched it, and also right now today, the notebook only works for English, but it's powered by Piper voices. And we've just added a lot of new Piper voices for French and Dutch, and soon also German, such that enough that we've hit a threshold that we can unlock also generating wake words with the notebook for those other languages. So this is kind of our strategy, right? Like we build the building blocks, we kind of grow with the community, and then unlock different languages or features.
Yeah, it was a unique aspect of Open Wake Word that it can work on. It can be trained from synthetic data, so that's where Piper came in. It was kind of a match made in heaven there.
Yeah. Right. So, I talked about the building blocks a few times now, and I just want to kind of like spell out the different building blocks, mainly because then it makes more sense. The features we're introducing, you can kind of see where they fit in. So the first part is wake word, like the word you say to get a voice assistant to start listening. Then whenever you say a command, that command is using speech to text turned into text. The text is then processed by a Home Assistant or ChatGPT. A response is generated once an action is done, or just if it's a query, just a response is generated. The response is then turned into audio again with text to speech, and then that is played back to the user. Now, because we are Home Assistant, we believe in choice. And so it means that for every of these building blocks, you can choose whatever you want. Whatever integration the Home Assistant supports this, you can add. So we've obviously added like our own favorites. I've listed them here. So wake word, Open Wake Word is really good. Porcupine, it's a closed source, but it has some good wake words in some other languages. So we've added that one as well for now. But there's a bunch of other wake words that already people have been playing with. Speech to text, text to speech. You want the highest quality, fast best experience, use Home Assistant Cloud, 130 plus languages, dialects, including like, when I mean dialects, it's like, for example, it has English for Indian English, it has Kenyan English, it has all these different variants of English. Even British English is supported. And then if you want to go local, we offer Whisper. So OpenAI Whisper, it's good. On the Raspberry Pi, experience is so. I would say, well, actually, it's more meh. Like, it's not good enough. It takes like 8-10 seconds to get a sentence like turned into text. Works best in English, not in other languages. If you have more CPU power, more resources at home, you can definitely run Whisper, especially in English. PyPar, on the other hand, just works pretty well on the Raspberry Pi. We do aggressive caching also, right? So on the Raspberry Pi, the first time it might take a couple of seconds. The second time it will be instant if it is the same exact response. Home Assistant tends to generate the same responses. ChatGPT is all over the place, so that's less benefit there.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, like with everything we built so far, there is a pretty nice variety of things that you can transform into voice assistants. We have phones with Android and Android phones and Android tablets. You have the Wear, the watch, sorry, from chapter 4. From chapter 2, you have the analog phones, and then you have all the ESP Home world. You can see 3 ESP Home device in this particular screen. You have the small Atom M5 stack at the bottom left corner of the screen, so this small thing. But you can also see the pretty big and beautiful droid from Pitaya, the creator of Mushroom, and also the HAL 9000 on my wall. That's me, that's mine. And all of these things are actually running the same guts, which are just like ESP32 boards. Other options, you can also just plug a combo mic and speaker, these kind of things, like this. This is a Jabra, but like this combo mic and speaker, you can directly plug them into the hardware running Home Assistant. So on the bottom right picture, you can see Home Assistant Blue, which was our first hardware, with just a combo mic and speaker. You can just transform your hub into a voice assistant. And if you don't really like hardware, you can just use any web browser and just running Assist on any browser visiting Home Assistant. So this is more or less where we are today in terms of choice or variety of the different voice assistant that we have.
Yeah, what I really like here is that it's the aspect of choice, right? You don't have to stick to a single model or view of the way you want to use voice. Like, if you can, if you like analog phones, you can use that. And of course, with ESP Home, if you want to build something, you can do that. Our goal is, of course, also to create like an off-the-shelf product that you can use, but it wouldn't have anything better. It would just be the same thing, but pre-packaged and ready to go. Like, for example, the Home Assistant Green. So I want to talk quickly about, like we've talked before, like all three of us like are working full-time on Home Assistant, working on voice stuff. Like, how does that work? How do we get people working full-time, working on open source, getting all this good stuff to you? And that is because of Nabu Casa. So, like I said before, I'm the founder of Home Assistant. I started that 10 years ago. As Home Assistant was growing, 5 years ago, I co-founded Nabu Casa. It is a commercial arm that provides services on top of Home Assistant to help you integrate with Home Assistant Cloud. Some things that you can do in Home Assistant, but you need to be either more technical, you need to like maintain it. Things like remote access, speech to text, text to speech with voice, Amazon integration, Google integration, and all the money that we raise with Home Assistant Cloud is used to hire people that build out Home Assistant. Now, building out Home Assistant is a lot of work, right? Home Assistant is the second most active open source project in the world. That is just a lot of organization just to keep all that going. Last year, we had 17,000 people contribute to Home Assistant, interacting with the community, making sure that their contributions are merged, reviewed. It is a lot of work. So, like, with Nabu Casa, we are the people that do all the chores that come with just running that kind of project. And also helping, like, investing in things like, oh, we want to have an open source voice. Let's make sure that's going to happen. And last thing to note is that Nabu Casa has no investors, right? This is purely privacy, and building Home Assistant number one are the priorities. So there's no return on investment. We don't, have to go evil and start selling data because there's no investors to please, right? Like, we do what we want, and what we want is build Home Assistant.
Yeah, our actual customers are the people that pay us. It's
Yeah.
an incredible, it's an amazing thing, a business like that.
That's a business model. That's pretty nice.
Okay.
All right, should we
Well,
get
let's
started
start
here?
looking at some of the new things. Mike, I'm going to throw your screen on.
Yeah. All right, so I'm going to start off this by talking about some new kinds of sentences you can use in Assist. So to date, you can do things like turn devices on and off, set light colors. You can ask about things in your house. You can say how many windows are open in the office, that sort of thing. And so here's a couple more. What our goal here is, over time, we're going to be trying to close the gap between us and these other assistants. And I think it's great. They're Amazon and others are doing this for us by removing features. So they're bringing themselves back towards where we're at, and we're moving forward. So eventually, we're gonna get there.
Yeah.
So one of the first ones you can do now is, if you have a weather entity in your Home Assistant server, you can ask, what is the weather like, and it'll report to you the temperature and the current weather condition for that entity. You can't ask by name if you have several, but it's using the entity name. So you want to name that after like the city. You can't ask for a random city at this point. The next one goes along with these beautiful new climate cards that are there. And so you can ask, what is the temperature, right? And it will tell you the temperature reported for the first climate entity. You can also ask things like, what is the temp in the office? And it will report the temperature for the climate entity in that area. So we'll process something.
Yeah. Good to note here is that, asking the temperature, you would expect, oh, look at the temperature sensors that Home Assistant has. And the problem is that it sounds easier than it is, because actually in Home Assistant, it's currently ambiguous. When we see a temperature sensor, we don't know, is this a temperature sensor for the room temperature, or is this your 3D printer nozzle temperature, or is this the CPU temperature? And so we are working on updating Home Assistant to actually create this awareness, which will help with a lot of things, including dashboard generation, voice answers, and these kind of things. So for now, we're only looking at your thermostats.
And these things are going to get improved over time, definitely. You can't currently set the temperature through Assist, and there's reasons for that. It's a little more complicated than you might think initially, but we're going to be working on that and close the gap, as we say.
Yeah.
The last one I'm going to demo here, 2 releases ago, we got to-do lists added. So these could be local, or there's a couple different services supported, and now Assist is able to target any to-do list that you have by name. So you can come in here and say something like, take out the garbage, the task list. So this will stick that in there. So you can now interact with your to-do list by voice. You can't delete or clear or anything like that. We leave that since you could pull out the app to do that.
Yeah.
But these are just regular entities in Home Assistant, so that's great. You can name them as you want, and you can even add aliases if you want to refer to them differently in voice or through Assist.
And what is also nice is, because they're entities, you can actually automate them, right? So you could use your voice to add something, then create an automation to maybe have this new to-do item being sent in a notification or something.
Yeah. All right, so back on the slides.
Yes.
So like I said, these are the new sentences, the weather, climate, and to-do lists. The last one that don't really need a demo for, but always a good one if you have an accidental wake up of your voice assistant, or you wake it up and then decide you don't want to say anything, you can just say, never mind. There's no response back. It just goes back to sleep. But kind of a quality of life improvement there.
Yeah. No, that's a nice one. Another nice feature that we've brought in is context awareness. So context awareness means that it's one of those things where, like, when you set out to build a voice assistant, you don't think of it, but you run into it very quickly when you start using it. And for example, you want to tell your voice assistant, turn on the lights. And when you say turn on the lights to your voice assistant, you don't want it to turn on all the lights in your house. That would be insane. Instead, you want it to turn on the lights in the room that you're in. And so this is a feature that we've added now, such that when we're dealing with, like, when we're processing a command that came in from an Assist device, we know which room it was in, which device was spoken to, so we can use this knowledge to, tailor the entities that we're targeting with our command. So JLO made a pretty cool video. JLO has a lot of voice devices, so you're gonna see, like, all his voice devices in action. And
no, not even half.
All right.
Okay, Nabu. Turn off the lights.
Turned off lights.
Okay, Nabu. Turn off the lights.
Turned off lights.
Okay, Nabu. Turn off the lights.
Turned off lights.
Okay, Nabu. Turn off the lights.
All right, so that was a really quick demo of context awareness. This is something that like we're going to also bring to the sentence trigger in the automations. That is currently not there yet, but that will be cool because it means that you can create your own custom sentences that you can say to Home Assistant already today using the sentence trigger and automations, but then you will also be able to tailor that to the device. So you will be able to say, I don't know, when you say, let's get the party started, it knows in which room it has to start the party. Very important.
Today you can already do that, but it's a bit complicated because it's through custom sentences, so YAML files. You can already build on the context awareness feature, but not on the automation editor. But it's already pretty good, and I think we will bring it soon to the automation editor.
Oh, damn it! There's a.
Someone's
I, didn't
asking.
re- I forgot that there was an animation.
Someone's asking a question. How about context awareness and assist microphone? Just stay tuned. We'll talk
Yeah,
about
we
that.
got there. We got that too. Okay. This is one, improved text-to-speech compatibility. If you've been playing with Assist, you've noticed that the ones that we actively test and work on, Home Assistant Cloud, text-to-speech, Piper text-to-speech, those always worked out of the box with the voice over the analog phones or ESP Home Assist devices. But using any other text-to-speech engine sometimes had issues. And the reason for that is that Home Assistant is Home Assistant, right? We have any integration that can offer text-to-speech, it can offer text-to-speech inside our voice assistant. But there's many different audio formats, and on the playing side, there's many requirements or limitations on what audio formats can be played, and there tended to be a mismatch. So now with Home Assistant, we added extra conversion steps such that we make sure that what text-to-speech generates is in a format that the consumer is going to be able to play. And if we don't know if the consumer can play it, we default to MP3, generally because MP3 is like the most supported format we found out there. And so this is, if you run into like, there were some people that had issues with like 11 Labs text-to-speech, for example, that one should work now without any problem.
I remember when we did the chapter 4, Pitaya, the creator of Mushroom, created his droid, and he had a lot of issues to have the sound of the robot coming back to ESP because it was in incorrect formats, and now it's just basically fixed automatically. So that's pretty cool.
So yay. All right, so I'm going to talk a little bit about something new and improved. In chapter 4, we also had the ability to create Raspberry Pi-based satellites. This is something that's a little more advanced for folks, but Home Assistant community is full of tinkerers, and if you know how to SSH into the Pi, this is for you. So you can take any old Raspberry Pi and you can turn it into a satellite. And now with the new and improved stuff, this satellite is tightly integrated into Home Assistant. So before, this used an external API, and we didn't really know where the satellite was. You couldn't really control it from the Home Assistant side, and that's changed now. These satellites can be automatically discovered, and they can actually have an area and controls like they do in ESP Home, where you can mute them or change which pipeline they're running. And even cooler is the addition now that you can also run local wake words on the device, which is what I'm going to be demoing here. I have this little device here. So maybe you can pop to the next slide, Paulus, to see.
Yeah.
So this is built from two parts, a Raspberry Pi 02W. These are finally getting back in stock. They're MSRP of $15, but I got mine for $25, so hopefully they'll keep coming down. And then Seed Studio has a respeaker to my cat. I plugged in and put a case on this thing. So this is about a Raspberry Pi 3 class of hardware, and that means it's capable of running WakeWord locally. So I have this going, and I plugged it into. Let me actually go to the device. So I plugged this into the RGB LEDs, hooked it up so that it would work. And so now, if I wake it up, you should see this assist in progress sensor go on. If this is all working. Hey Jarvis, turn on the lights. There we go. So you can run local wake word on this and have it interact, and it's a full-fledged device now in Home Assistant. There are also 2 other modes I'm not going to demo, but you can run this in a VAD or voice activity detector mode where it only streams when you speak. So it would do wake word detection on Home Assistant, or you can set it into an always streaming mode. That would be more for like maybe a Raspberry Pi or the original Zero or something that's still a single board computer, but it doesn't have a lot of processing power.
And so what this really nice improvement here is that when we introduced wake word, and we mentioned it before, wake word is running inside Home Assistant. This means that if you have 10 voice assistant devices that are all doing wake word, then, and if you make a lot of noise and they all pick it up and they all start streaming it to Home Assistant, then your Home Assistant might get overwhelmed and run out of CPU power and be unable to process all the wake words. Now, with this device, it is already possible to do the wake word detection unlike the Raspberry Pi. And so you can offload this from Home Assistant. This means that you could run like 100 or 200 wake word devices, right, or assist devices going on. So this is good. This is kind of, eventually we want to have this running on an ESP32 microcontroller that is like cheaper, smaller, and these kind of things. But for now, this is a great first step to already experience this, and for us to also kind of make sure that our infrastructure can handle this.
And what I was running there was, by the way, was open wake word. So any custom wake words you train, you could run on this as well.
The video of the context awareness was also hiding one of them inside. One of them was a Wyoming satellite.
Right. So I didn't plug in. I didn't plug in a speaker to this. I wanted it to be a quiet voice assistant. But you could plug in a speaker and it can play sounds when it wakes up and that sort of thing for fun.
There's actually a nice question. Adul's asking, can we move the wake word processing to a different server? Yes, that is actually possible because Home Assistant under the hood uses Wyoming. Wyoming is an open voice assistant protocol that we developed, and it can actually wake words, speech to text, text to speech, can all be pushed to different servers, more powerful servers, and then not have to run on your Home Assistant Yellow.
Go ahead. I was going to say the nice thing about that is that once you set it up, so it's a Docker container for open wake word, for example, then the Wyoming protocol is doing magic. So everything is discovered automatically, and you basically forget at some point that things are running on a different system. For example, at home, none of the add-ons for voice are running on my Yellow because I have too many tests. Voice assistant, I have like 7 of them in front of my desk, and they were basically making my Yellow a bit too CPU intensive. So I just put everything on a server, and it's working flawlessly. So you can already offset any part of the pipeline to another machine. Mm-hmm. The wake word, the TTS, the STT, and that's it. Yeah.
And with this improved satellite, the local wake word is running using Wyoming as well. So you could actually redirect it to a different server just locally, and the rest could run on Home Assistant.
Yeah, so for example, on my demo, it was not wake word on the device. It was just a wake word on another server on my home. It was just like offset it somewhere else. Works perfectly fine, completely transparent. Yeah.
Okay, are we ready for the next one?
Ready.
Yes, of course.
All right, this is the ESP32 S3 Box 3. This is reference design hardware by Espressif. Espressif is the creator of ESP chips, ESP8266, ESP32. It was also the reason why we made ESP Home. It runs on ESP32s out of the box, tightly integrates them into Home Assistant. We have been using these little Atom Echo dev kits. These are also running ESP32 chips. Now, Espressif has also dabbled into voice assistant technology and mainly building two libraries that help with building one, focus on their chips. And this device is their reference design. So you can see it on the right, there's 2 dots above the screen. Those are microphones. It has a speaker. It has a dock. The picture looks a bit like a render because it's blue, but like it's actually this blue.
Yeah.
Like it's
for the bird.
because of that bird. So the bird you see on the front, it has these kind of colored feet, and somehow this whole box is themed after that. Whatever they like. But yeah, we've been using this as our target nowadays. We wanted to announce this one before and talk to people about this and how you could use this one. However, it was they were working on introducing the box 3, and so they had discontinued the old boxes, but the new boxes were not really available yet. And so now that is the case, and so now we can also talk to you all about it, because we don't want to be the ones that like look at this cool technology and oh, you cannot try it, it's only for us, right? Like when we at Home Assistant announce something that you can use, then we want you to be able to hit update, or within a week the release is coming and you can all use all this stuff. So
You should order it now, though, before it's out of stock after the end of the stream.
yeah, it will probably be out of stock before the end of this stream. But yeah, this is really cool. And yeah, do you want to give a demo, JLO?
Sure. Before I start the demo, just one thing about what you said, because we already showed that box into different streams, and I know that some people have already bought it. There is 3 versions of the box. There is the original one that looks like this. You don't have the blue stand, it's like a regular stand. You have the light one that is coming without the stand, and you have the new one. Even if it's only the new one that is available today for purchase, everything that I'm going to show is working on the 3 boxes. So don't buy a new box just for the sake of doing this, because it's going to work. And actually, I'm going to demo everything on the original box. It's the same thing behind the hood. Everything works on the 3 boxes. Yeah, so should I start directly by a demo?
Yeah, let's do demo.
All right, give me 1 sec. I'm going to change camera. Logistics. Oh, nice. Okay, Nabu, turn off the office lights. Okay, Nabu, turn on the office lights. All right, so I may go back to my face for now.
Ooh, it worked.
It worked, yes. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to try to make a few demos tonight. I'm just telling you that the demo gods have not been very nice to me on the rehearsal, but everything seems to work right now, so I'm pretty happy about it. So what was that? That is a ESP firmware that we created specifically for the S3 box. That takes 2 minutes to flash, more or less. Takes 2 minutes to install. Actually, can I share my screen,
Yeah.
Paulus? If you go to the ESP website today, there is a link called Install Ready-Made Project, which is a repository of firmware that we provide to the community to kickstart everything on ESP. I will explain a bit what is ESP for the one that are not aware of right after, but there is a section for a voice assistant. This one was the Atom M5 stack, this small thing that we've been demoing for a long time. And now we have the box. You just select the version of the box that you have. You click connect. You plug your box into your computer. I think it's even the case for this one. And you just use the correct serial, which I didn't do. And you press install. And that's about it. You have the firmware. The next thing you need to do will be just connecting it to the Wi-Fi, connecting it to Home Assistant. But we made the whole thing very simple because everything is discovered automatically. You press 2 buttons and you have what I just showed you. So we are using the screen to represent different states of the voice assistant. Can you go to the next slide, Paulus? So you saw some of them. Like I didn't plug it, so you didn't saw the loading screen, and you didn't saw errors. Hopefully, maybe you will see some error screen during the during the demo. But yeah, so we have like we define 6 states of the voice assistant. 4 of them being like really used on a day-to-day, on a task-by-task basis. And so we define specific illustration for all of them so that you can follow what the voice assistant is doing. So when you plug it in, you have the loading screen that is displayed as long as the voice assistant is not connected to the Wi-Fi and to Home Assistant. At some point, it times out, it shows errors, but I'm not going to go into detail. Then you have the idle screen, which is there when the voice assistant is ready to listen to your wake word. And then you have the 3 active states, which are listening when the voice assistant listens to your command, thinking when it's currently processing, which depending on what you do and the blocks of the pipeline can be very fast, or can be pretty slow depending on what you want to do. For example, on the demos that you are showing since at the beginning of the stream, this step has been pretty fast because we are using either Home Assistant Cloud. For me, I'm using Home Assistant Cloud for TTS and STT, so it's very fast to transcribe text into speech and speech into text. And also the intent, the fact of saying turn off the lights, is done locally, and it's pretty fast because we have designed an intent parser that is pretty fast. But if you want to do things like ChatGPT, etc., then these steps basically takes a bit more time, which makes sense. Then you have the replying state when the voice assistant is ready to speak a response. And then you have an error state when something happens that is not expected, I would say. So this is what you get out of the box, without pun intended or pun intended, out of the box. You buy the box, you go to espm.io/projects, you plug it in, you flash it, you connect it to the Wi-Fi, integrate it in Home Assistant, and in 2 minutes, this is what you get. But I mean, I think that all of us have been talking about something for this on this stream before was choice. In Home Assistant, we have this value, this choice. We are trying to give as much choice as possible to the user. Choice means multiple things, but here I want to talk about customization, personalization, your dashboards, your notification, all of the way you are interacting with Home Assistant today, they are very customizable. And so we decided that this box would not be different. So the framework that we are shipping with the box allows to customize the illustration. So in a very simple process that I'm actually going to show you right now. Actually, maybe we will show a small demo to show you a bit how it looks like, but you will be able to change all of the pictures of the box. Shall we show a small demo? I feel that I've been talking for too long. People need a demo.
Jarvis, turn off the living room lights.
Nice.
Nice. So that was a small robot coming from Apple, like the animojis from Apple. I will try to make a few demos, and I will also try to give you tips on how to find these good pictures, because it's actually not simple to find pictures for a voice assistant, because you need 6 pictures that are making sense overall, usually that are showing different emotions, like something unhappy, something happy, something thinking. It's a bit complex, but I found a few leads that could allow you to just find the perfect voice assistant for you. So what I propose is that, can you share back my screen, Paulus? I will try to make the demo live. Okay, so the before I start, actually, like just one thing, because otherwise I don't want to lose people. So ESPM is 2 things. On the one end, it's an open standard that is natively supported by Home Assistant, meaning this is what you saw at the beginning. You buy the box, you plug it, you flash the firmware. The firmware is ESPM. It's discovered by Home Assistant and it works. You need nothing more. That's the user side of Home Assistant. And then you have the other side of Home Assistant, which I'm going to call the creator side of Home Assistant, being able to create this firmware. Here you need an add-on. So you need an add-on that is going to allow you to write very simple text, YAML text, that are going to be transformed into very complex logic that is going to be flashed in the board. Telling you doing software on electronic is very complex, and ESPM is very simple because you are just defining components over YAML, and it's basically done automatically for you. Here we are not going to create firmware from scratch because we did it for you. We are going to customize a firmware in order to change the pictures. But I just wanted to tell you that because I'm going to speak about an add-on. The add-on is not to use the box. The add-on is to customize the box. So that's just what I wanted to say. Okay, so let me share this part. So if you open the add-on for the first time and the box is brand new, you will see this thing which is called adopt. Adopt is a term that we use to say I want to pull the firmware from where it was located. And I want to be able to have it locally so that I can change it, I can customize it. I'm not going to do it because it's a bit long. I will go to another instance of ESPM where I already did it. Once you adopt the firmware, then this is a pretty simple thing. You have nothing more or less. You more or less have the link to where the firmware was located, which is on GitHub.
What is nice, the way we've built it is that instead of copying the firmware and like copying the configuration locally, we actually reference it in the original location. This means that if we are going to create updates for the ESP32 S3 Box firmware, you will still get this, even if you are updating the device from your local add-on. So you don't have to plug it in again. You don't have to like go to esphome.io/project. In the ESP add-on, you'll just be able to click update, boom, it works. And
exactly.
Yeah, so what JLo is going to show now is how you can customize this, yet still stay compatible.
Exactly. So if we make updates to the framework, it's going to be backward compatible with your updates, and your device will actually stay your device. So before I start that, I actually forgot something. That's the beauty of live. You also need pictures. So I'm going to show you the pictures that I'm going to put on the box. I think it will be simpler, better for you also to see a bit how it looks eventually. So I'm going to share this. On the ESP so it's pretty simple. You need pictures and you need ESP to be able to get them. So if you are using the ESP add-on, there is a config folder on your config folder of Home Assistant called ESP, and you can just dump your pictures there. There is many ways of doing that. Here I'm using VS Studio Code because I can just show you the pictures. It's going to be a bit better for me to show you the pictures.
This is also an add-on, right?
Yes, it's also an add-on. You can use many ways of accessing. You basically need to access your configuration folder and to be able to drop pictures there.
So if you have, just for the record here, if you have no experience and this is all going a bit too fast, don't worry. Gabriella made an amazing guide, which is also going to be on our website, so you can just follow along.
Yeah. So I'm going to try to flash this one. Again, just giving you a bit of tips of how to find this good
Zoom in a little, because this is not very...
Sorry?
Can you zoom in a little?
Actually, no, because the whole screen is going to be the picture in like 1 second.
Okay.
Again, like giving you tips on how to find good pictures. One test that I made that came pretty successful was to use Midjourney. Generative AI, and basically telling him like, I want a face of a cartoon character that is thinking, that is speaking, that is sleeping, and things like this. So that worked pretty well. And you need 6 images more or less. You need one for loading, when the Home Assistant is going to load. You need one for the idle state, so when the voice assistant will be ready to listen to your commands. And then again, like listening images, and so on and so forth. So that's just my test. That's it. You just need 6 pictures. A few requirements on the pictures, even if we do a lot to make sure that everything works. Aspect ratio 4:3. That's because it is the size of the box. If you take something else, we are going to resize them for you without losing the ratio. So we are not going to stretch them. We are going to resize them. Also one tips, which is pretty nice if you want something usable, is to have something that is making the pictures pretty different between the non-active states, so like for example idle, and the active states like listening, because then you can spot when the voice assistant is being active from across the room. So for example, here in this test, I have all the non-active states that are on a black background, and I have the active state that are on a white background, so that when it's active, I know it. So that's basically it. You just need 6 pictures, more or less.
Someone had asked a question, can we use GIF files or GIF, depending on which side of pronunciation you're on? And the answer is no, you cannot right currently. There's no animation possible here. The refresh rate on the screen is not fast enough using ESP Home to do that right now.
To be perfectly honest, even displaying the pictures caused us some issues. So it's an ESP board, it's a small board, and it's already good enough that we're able to display pictures, but we are not able to do animations for now. Okay, so you have the pictures, you have your box, you adopted it, so you are more or less there. You have your firmware with nothing on it. The only thing that you need to do is basically adding a few variables that will be on the guide, so you don't need to screenshot this. It's basically one variable per state. So that's the loading illustration file, the idle illustration file, listening, thinking, replying, and error. They are all pointing to the picture that I show you. You save, you install, and you wait depending on your hardware, you can wait either a few seconds or either a few minutes, and you should see your assistant basically being displayed. I'm trying to speak as it's flashing. Actually, it's pretty fast on my machine. I have a pretty big server for ESP Home, so it should be ready in a few minutes.
It's also caching, right? Like this, the first installation always takes longer. The second one goes faster.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty cool.
Somebody's asking what the size of the images should be.
So
don't worry,
resize them.
ESP Home is going to resize it so it fits. It just aspect ratio 4:3 is the aspect ratio of the screen. ESP Home will, if it is a square image, ESP Home will just still resize it, but it remains, if it's square, it will just have like 2 black bars or whatever you set the background color to.
Exactly. So it has been over. Let me just change the camera. And that's it. That's
going to work.
I think so. Wait, why is it black? Because it's muted. Give me a sec. I need to unmute it. I'm muting the screen because I'm always. So yeah, that's more or less it. Let's try to wake it up. Okay, Nabu. Turn off the office lights. It's a bit creepy because the pictures are, I don't know, like Midjourney is doing something nice, but it's still a bit creepy. But yeah, so that's working. Which
and
is
you could customize the voice here too, right? If you
I mean, it makes a bit no sense because I have like a female character with a man's voice, but yes, you can configure everything. I'm just focusing on the right now, but so this is the first way to customize the box, I would say. So you can generate pictures. You can, you can upload pictures on the box. You just need 6 pictures, 1 per state, and that's about it. Since it's working and I'm feeling a bit confident, I'm going to try another demo. I mean, I'm pretty happy. Like, by the way, we are not saying that because it's not working. We're just saying that because we got unlucky during the rehearsal. Let's just share another set of pictures and another. Well, actually, I already shared it, but I just want to show you something else, which is nice. And emojis. So Apple, but actually I think you can also find alternatives on Android, is providing things called an emoji, which are like small faces that have different emotions. You can even have yourself as an emoji. This I'm just using the robot one by default. And this is just, I just want to say it now during the stream because it's a very good source of having the same thing with different emotion. There is a lot of them, and this is actually pretty cool because it looks very well on a small screen, having like a thinking robot. Like this is clearly a thinking robot. This is like a replying robot. Is like happy. So this is very nice, but they are square, so that's fine. We said it like we resize them, but they are also transparent. And so you may want to actually change also how they are displayed, the background color of how they are displayed. And this is the second way of way of customizing the box, is that if you have transparent images, we are also allowing you to change the background color, which allows you to change basically the whole thing. So I'm just going to do it again. So share screen. So I'm going to change the Midjourney pictures to the robot pictures. So that's the robot one. And I'm going to add 6 other variables, which will also be on the guide. So don't worry, 1 per state with the background color. Are just hexadecimal codes. You can find them on Google by just looking for color picker. I'm doing it live.
You just will be linked to the guide. That one, yeah. Oh, yeah.
You just look for color picker on Google, and you can find the color you want, and you have like the hexadecimal code directly on the color picker. So that's pretty cool. And that's about it. So you have 1 picture and 1 background color per state. Just before I flash it, I'm not colorblind. I put very striking color, very ugly color. It's just because if I take something that is a bit more natural, I know that with my phone showing the box, it's not going to work. So just word of caution, it's going to be a pretty ugly box. It's going to be blue when it's loading, green when it's idle, and red when I'm speaking. So it's going to be a pretty ugly box.
Party.
Yeah, but just to show you how it's done, right? Yeah, again, like it's not going to be the most beautiful box. So while we are flashing, I just want to recap. So you can change the illustration. You can change the background color. Of course, if you change the background color and the picture is solid, nothing is going to happen. Like the background color is just going to be ignored. And the pictures can be locally, but they can also be fetched remotely. So if you have a URL with pictures, you can just put that instead of the local path, and it's going to work. That will be my last demo, with also a nice community surprise, I would say, for the last demo. But let's wait until we are there. So I'm just going to share my screen again. Camera. All right. So now it's loading for now. I think it's going to go back to muted because I'm muting the voice assistant. So I'm just going to wait until the voice assistant is ready. Yeah. So let me just unmute it. Ooh. Okay, Nabu. Turn off the office lights. All right. So
Yeah.
I mean, okay, the picture, the results were bad, but you get the idea more or less of it.
Someone asked a question here: Is the mic any better than the M5 stack? I think they made on the S3 box. Yes, it has dual mics on it, and it is. Yeah. It's supposed to be capable of doing something locally, but it's we haven't engaged that yet. But the mics are better quality.
One thing, because like what Mike said, we haven't engaged yet. Like once we are able to activate that piece of technology to use the two microphones in the fullest, you can just literally hit update in the ESP Home dashboard, and you'll get that feature, right? So it's really cool. You install it today, you get updates as long as there are updates.
Yeah, I think that the speaker on the box are actually a bit better than even the speaker that all our custom-made projects are using. The talkie, like my walkie-talkie is inside on one side of the living room. I'm able to wake it up from the other side of the living room, and I think it's even better than this because when I'm running them side by side, it's always the box that is picked up. So I don't know. I think it's a bit better actually, but yeah, more tests to come for now. All right. So the last demo. Sorry. So again, as I said, like you don't even need to have pictures locally. You can just find them online somewhere, I would say. And so that means that if someone, which is me for now, but I mean, like that's the beauty of open source. Everybody can do that. Create some kind of repo with community illustration for the box. Here you have my mid-journey test that I think nobody will use, and you have another test that I think that a lot of people are going to use. Which is Frank. So you can ask Frank, or you can ask someone to make nice pictures, and you just have to copy. Like they are the same variables, just that I'm using URLs there for that. And you just go to your configuration and you just do that. So I'm just basically referencing remote pictures on my box. One thing important, it's going to fetch them at compile time, and that's it. Then after, the voice assistant is local. And now I'm just fetching them. I'm just resizing them, putting them somewhere on the memory of the board. I don't understand anything about what I said, but that's it. And that's it. And after that, the pictures are on the box, and they will never be. You will not need internet.
The box is fully offline, right? Yeah.
And it should support most common image formats. It's constrained by what a particular Python library called Pillow is able to do, but most things like PNGs or JPEG should be just fine. Some more exotic things like WebP and stuff may not work. So you may not work with every picture you find on the internet, but it should work with most.
Yeah.
All right. So I guess that looking at the chat, waiting for that, I'm just going to also change the wake word for that one because it makes no sense if I have.
So this is kind of the point, right? So now we're at a stage where you have a device that you can flash. You can customize the wake word. You can customize the pictures. You can make your own voice assistant perfect for your holidays.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So let me just wait 1 second until the box is restarting. It's taking a bit of time to restart after flashes, but then it works well. So let me just wait a bit. I'm changing the. So by the way, if you want to know how to change while the box is waiting, the wake word, it's in the settings of your home assistant, voice assistant. You have all of your different voice assistants. I have one for English, and here you have like the different engine of wake word that you are using. So we talked about Open Wake Word and Porcupine, and in Open Wake Word, it's shipping with a few one that are shipped with the box, which are this one that I will not say, a Jarvis, Mycroft, Raspi, and OK Nabu. Al was the one that I used for my Al 9000. This is the one I'm going to use right now. And so I'm going to change. Can you share my face now?
Oh.
All right. Oh, yes, sorry, the box is still muted. Give me 1 sec, I need to unmute it. And now we have a small Frank chilling in
The
my...
live stream and the live stream.
Yeah, so let's see if I can ask him to turn off my light. Okay, Frank. Turn off the office lights. And so, yeah, that's it. And that's available for, I would say, with the blessing.
Oh,
yeah, so I think that's about it. If we summarize, we have a box. If you ship it, it comes with default illustration that are working well. If you don't like them, yeah, you can change whatever you want. Mostly the pictures, the background color, if you're using transparent pictures. And just 3 tips that I shared with you if you want to do this. Generative AI, Midjourney is a very good source for this kind of pictures, and emojis or any kind of set of emojis, and a community repository that I hope will grow over time. For now, there is only 2 of them, and one of them is Frank.
Yeah, it works great if you have a friend with a webcam. You need 2. You need both of them.
Yeah. So, but there is, we've talked about image sources, and like there's actually one extra image source that we also want to like unlock for you, and it's the one that like a lot of us like have created ourselves, which
The
is
original generative
Yeah.
intelligence.
We made a little template that you can share with your kids, and you can print it out and you can ask them to make your own voice assistant. So you print it out, they'll color it in. In this case, I just made a photo with my phone, cut it out, put it in the ESP home, and yeah, it works. Okay, Nabu, turn the Christmas tree on.
I think you turn off my Christmas tree. The one time I didn't mute my... Okay.
So yeah, this is a PDF. This will also be available as part of the guide, so you can have your kids create their own voice assistants. You could even then have different voice assistants in the same room with different wake words, such that like each kid can like interact with their own voice assistant. We've seen in our personal lives that definitely a voice assistant with faces do a lot better for engagement of kids. If it's just a tiny white box, they forget about that it exists. If they see a nice face, especially when they draw on, they are like, yes, this is awesome.
Very cool.
Yeah. Now, next up, we want to do a few community highlights. And the reason we want to do some community highlights is because there's a lot of cool stuff happening in the community. And if we don't tell you, then who would, right? Actually, some of these have been featured either in release parties or in the Building the Open Home newsletter, the free monthly email newsletter that we write. But still, we want to highlight a few of them. The first one is called OnDue Voice. OnDue Voice is a project where somebody created a PCB that is compatible, a drop-in replacement for the Google Nest Mini 2nd generation. It will leverage like the capacitive touch buttons on the top. It will leverage the microphones. So you put in this PCB, you can install ESP Home on it, and it will work. So Tetela actually made a very cool demo of this. So I'm just going to show his video right here.
Turn on the office overhead light.
And here he's manually activating it.
Turn off the office overhead light.
Turned off light.
Now he enables the wake word.
Okay, Nabu. Turn on the office overhead light.
Turned on light.
Awesome. And yeah, so Tudor Tetela is he's here in the chat, and he's been an awesome community member throughout this whole year. He's helped out quite a bit. He's a language leader. He's in the Discord chat, always helping people. So big thanks to him for helping out there throughout the year of voice.
Yeah, no, definitely. I see some people with some good ideas. If you are watching on YouTube, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the thumbs up button, just so that we get some good rates.
So
Yeah.
Do that.
Yeah.
Hit hard. All right.
Yeah, next one we got is to highlight what's his name? Florian. A guy named Florian has put together a wake word collection. This is the open wake word models trained through the Colab notebook that you can do for free. And he started collecting all of these into one place. So there's somebody may have already trained the crazy personal wake word you're thinking of. You might check it out. Some particular highlights we like are Choo Choo Homie and Darth Vader. There's a number of Star Wars themed ones. And there's a Hey Frank. There is actually a Hey Paulus as well, in case you want to spend your holidays talking to the great Home Assistant founder. And
We just need pictures now.
yeah, we just need pictures.
Yeah. Okay. The last one of the community highlights is actually one by JLO, so I'm gonna have you do all the talking.
Yeah, so that was a funny story actually. So when we released wildcards, so I don't know if you remember what was wildcards. That's a way to specify a string of text on a query. Sorry, that was very badly explained. For example, like add eggs to the shopping list, or remind me to something. When we released wildcards, in the release notes of that release, we showed an example which was play album by artist. And then some members contacted me saying like, "Hey, can we do that?" And the answer was no, because the music part was not really created. So I spoke with Marcel, who is the creator of Music Assistant and also the Matter master in Home Assistant. And he created some services that are allowing you to listen to any music you want, to play any music you want, by just providing a song name, an artist name, and an album name on Music Assistant. So for the one that are not aware, Music Assistant is an add-on on Home Assistant that is your perfect companion for the audio part of your home. It allows you to collect all of your songs in one place, whether they are coming from streaming services like Spotify or whether they are local, and then they are allowing you to stream them in different speakers in your home, even groups of speakers from different brands. So as soon as he did that, I tried different intents, like play album by artist, play track, play whatever. I remember speaking with Marcel and saying like, it's working, but it's complex. I have like 17 different intents for that. And at some point I gave up just for the complexity, and I decided to just use ChatGPT for that. So I wrote a prompt on ChatGPT so I explained basically to ChatGPT exactly what I wanted as an output. So I want this field for the artist name, this field for the album name, etc. And it works, but on top of it, it allows me to do things that I would never have been able to do with just intents. So for example, I can say play Highway to Hell by AC/DC, but then I can also say things like play the opening credits of the Narcos TV show, or play the Pink Floyd album with the rainbow on the cover. As soon as it's basically on the dataset of ChatGPT, then it works. And this is pretty cool. I can make a small demo if you want.
Yeah.
Without the sound, because we don't want to be removed by YouTube. But so this is, for example, one a speaker from Music Assistant, which is idle. And if I say, that's not the correct button, if I say listen to the Pink Floyd album with the rainbow on the cover, so which is the album Dark Side of the Moon, in the office, because I don't want to wake my girlfriend.
Doo-doo-doo-dum.
Yeah, so it works. And that's pretty cool. Like I can basically ask anything, listen to the winner of the 2016 Eurovision edition.
Oh, now you're pushing it.
ChatGPT will probably do it.
Yeah, I know this one works. It's just that it's not a good example. It's not a good demo because, well, okay, I'm going to stop doing demo live. But even if it was
Oh, wait,
working,
say
it's
an
not a
area,
good
though.
demo because you don't know it, so you cannot really know if it's. But
My
yes,
favorite,
this
I
works.
like what you
pretty
showed
well.
before was like play that song from Iron Man, and it
Yes.
plays the plays the
Yeah.
right one.
Yeah. Play the opening credit of Iron Man by AC/DC, and he was playing the right one. Yeah. So that's pretty cool. It works pretty well. Yeah.
And this is what I really like, is that it kind of already gives a sneak peek of how we can use ChatGPT or other large language models to provide kind of a more generic interface to your house where you can ask questions that we don't know exactly how you're going to ask it or what your intent is. But if a large language model can figure it out, we can actually offer a lot more interface. And we've actually been kind of brainstorming, like, this is not just going to be for voice, right? Like, what if you could write your automations in a way where, say, turn on the light if it's dark outside, and it will check itself like what your time is, if the sun has set, these kind of things, and decide on that. Like, that's a possibility, and maybe we're definitely going to play with that, and we'll see where that goes with Home Assistant.
The year of AI.
I don't want to, like, that's too much. It's a side quest.
I think every year from here on out was going to be the year of AI as far as society is concerned.
No, that's true. That's true.
Until it dies or takes over.
Okay.
Yeah,
So,
so,
you want to talk about this one? Yeah.
No, I can take it. Yes. So I'm going to just reflect on what Paul said at the beginning. We started the stream by saying that's the end of year of the voice, but that's not the end of year of the voice. Sorry. We've been working so hard for a year, building things, building features, building blocks more or less that can be used by our community. We have wake word, we have ESP home integration. Just the fact of having the ESP home integration means that you can integrate voice assistant into anything you want. We have different voices, different way of, we have custom sentences, etc. And now that the very sharp focus on voice is over, we want to celebrate. We want to celebrate with you, and we want to celebrate what this is enabling you to build. Because this is something that we didn't do. We build a lot, but we didn't reflect on what you can do with it. And we really think that you can do things that are much better than what we are doing. For example, like the Droid or things like this. I think that you can do much better. So you will have more information about this contest when it's going to start. But what we can tell you is that on the 17th of January, we will start a contest. There will be prizes that are coming from Home Assistant, hardware prizes. And you will be able to participate into the contest with 4 categories, 4 different categories, which they are on the screen. The important part is that it's not a contest about the voice assistant itself, it's a contest about voice in general. So you can participate by creating something unique. You can participate by creating a piece of software that works for our voice. For example, like this ChatGPT music search engine could be part of the contest. Everything that is revolving around voice will be part of the contest. We will start the contest with a live stream where we will build a voice assistant together from scratch. We will build the insides of the walkie-talkie, the HAL 9000, and Pitaya's the Droid, because they are all the same inside. So we're going to build it from scratch together. And that's about it. That's what we can tell you. We don't even know how long the contest is going to take, between 1 or 2 months, because you can order parts, etc. So we don't really know, but that's what we can tell you for now.
So start thinking, start ordering some parts, and start tinkering, right? Like,
Yeah.
the holidays are coming up, so
Sorry.
time.
We can tell you one more thing. The end of the contest, we will have a live stream, and the winners will be invited to talk about what were their experience and what are their creation.
Yeah. Before we go to the next slide, Marlena just linked me emojikitchen.dev. This has like inspiration for your S3 box. This is a website from Google with all their emojis, and you can actually pick an emoji if you want to have like a crying one. Then like
Ah,
you
that's
have,
pretty cool actually.
so you can pick any. So you can the goals, the ideas. I think you can combine like two emojis. Like you want a screaming 100. So yeah, it's really cool. Emojikitchen.dev
That's
is the
nice.
website. So definitely, if you don't have kids, this is a good option too.
All
Okay.
right. So next slide. Yeah. So yeah, voice. The year of voice is over, but voice is not over. I'm going to talk about some stuff for the roadmap next year. One of the big ticket items I want to get to right away is more actionable errors from Assist. Everybody who's used it knows that there's some very hard edges there where you say something the wrong way, or you don't realize you haven't exposed a device, or using a name just wrong, and all you get is "sorry, I couldn't understand." This was a part of the original design for speed, but it's something that we can loosen up a bit and need to be able to say, oh, I know what you're talking about, but here's why I can't do anything with that. That device wasn't exposed, something like that. Another one that people, to help close that gap with other assistants, is going to be timers. So, being able to set a timer for some duration by name or whatever. The tricky part with this has been that this is something where after the timer goes off, Home Assistant needs to reach back to the device you set it on and play some kind of sound or notification or speak. So it's a little bit of a different interaction mechanism than right now, where you say a command and it says something back to you immediately, and that's the end of the interaction. So that's
There's also another complexity on timers, is that everybody knows how to use them, but when you start to dig into it, it's so complex. Like I spent like 1 or 2 weeks setting timers on like all of the big platforms, and like this is big.
madness.
It's not like just setting a timer and knowing how much time it left. There is so much nuances about if you have like 20 different timers running at the same time, etc. And this is actually it's more complex than what I thought actually.
Yeah. So I mean, it's like with setting the temperature and getting temperatures and climate entities. It sounds simple until you start until you get two people in a room and say, how do you think this should work? And they both completely disagree.
Yeah.
That's really what it happens. Next thing is on the S3 Box 3. Right now we're doing streaming wake word detection, but we'd like to be able to get local wake word detection on the box. Now this won't be customizable like it is with Open Wake Word and whatever, but we want to be able to have people scale up their houses with more voice assistants without putting a burden on their Home Assistant server. So that's going to be important to help kind of keep the airwaves clear. We'd like to keep looking into our own voice hardware. This may be based on the same guts of the S3 Box 3, but we would like to have something that's perfectly plug and playable and fits with the Home Assistant values. So, keep watch on that. We'll be talking about that more next year. And then lastly, as like a fun thing, and we'll see how far we can take this. We like the idea of tying large language models, AI, into Home Assistant. Right now you can just talk to ChatGPT as a conversation, but we'd like to make use of new features that allow GPT to reach back and call functions inside Home Assistant. So yeah, this would be where you expose part of your house to the AI that may take us over.
I see a comment on the chat about excited for the plug and play satellite. Yeah, me too. But today, this is it. This is the best you can have for like plug and play thing. Like it's not perfect because we didn't build it. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
We missed an item. Thanks, Frank. Responses for sentence automation triggers is also coming. So right now you can register your custom sentences in the automations, but you cannot set your responses yet. If everything goes well, the January release will make that possible.
Yes.
Yeah. And areas, context awareness also on this sentence would be nice.
Yeah, definitely. I've seen a few, as the chat has gone by over time, there's a common question people ask, can I use a Google Coral or something to accelerate my voice processing? Unfortunately, no. Whisper, to my knowledge, still does not run on the TPUs inside the Corals. This too little memory doesn't fit the architecture right. At this stage, a traditional GPU is the only thing you can use to accelerate it, or just get a more beefy CPU.
There is a question about Android wake word.
So,
Right. So go ahead and pause.
oh yeah, we have a prototype. We're not showing it because we don't have anything to ship, but it is possible. We haven't tested the quality yet, so we don't know if the microphones on your Android are going to be good enough to do this as a day-to-day kind of thing. But in a way, I kind of would say it may be because Google does it on Android phones, right? They have always listening microphones, so there must be some decent quality. But maybe they assume that your phone is very close to you. So we are looking to Android, just nothing to announce right now.
Yeah, and it's if you end up using one of these conference mics, for example, to try out Assist with your Home Assistant server, you'll find that there's a big difference between microphones meant to listen for something very close and ones that are far field meant to listen far away.
Yeah.
And you want to pick the right thing for the right job. Right?
Lastly, a big thank you. Thank you to Nabu Casa and all the Home Assistant Cloud subscribers. Thank you for supporting our work. If you are not subscribed to Home Assistant Cloud and you do want to support our work, please go to nabucasa.com to sign up. You will also get access to text-to-speech, speech-to-text to get like the best high-quality voice assistants, remote access, Google, Amazon. So best way to integrate the mobile apps. So definitely check it out if you want to support our work. Also, huge thanks to all the language leaders that are working to get all the sentences going, to make sure that every language is up to par and keeping them up to date as we get more things going. Yeah.
Yeah. I saw one comment about because I think it resonates with what you said. Any idea on how to make voice recognition on the yellow faster, because it's a bit slow on my side. Just so you know, all the demos that I showed, I only have a yellow at home, but I'm using Home Assistant Cloud. So this is the speed that you get with it. We are doing things that are very smart. For example, starting the streaming to the cloud while you are speaking and not only at the end. So this means that actually almost everything feels instant. And yeah, all the demos that you saw on my side, on my house, they have all been done with through our cloud services for the speech to text and text to speech. Intent recognition, what happens in my home is local. And yeah, this is what I wanted to say. So there is ways to accelerate voice if you don't have expensive hardware. Yeah.
And also, next year too, I have some on the Raspberry side of things. I have add-ons that are coming out for doing speech to text. Now these come with compromises. For example, you have a limited set of sentences you can speak, but they can run much faster on this lower end hardware. Not the quality of Whisper, but if you're one of those people that says, I want to be local at all costs, this would be for you.
Yeah. Cool. I saw some requests to see the Frank video again.
There is one actually, right?
Yeah, let's see Frank.
Okay, Frank. Turn off the living room lights.
I call this the Frankenbox.
Yeah. So actually, I think that this idea is far from over, because I'm pretty sure that someone is going to make a voice that looks like Frank with 11 labs, and it's going to start to hook it up to like a chat GPT that knows everything about Home Assistant, and like having a little Frank that can explain you why your automations are bad and wrong and not working.
So like our version of Clippy.
This is the beginning.
We should say, if you're going to clone someone's voice, ask them first, please.
Yes.
Okay. Will do.
Cool. Well, that's it for today. I want to thank everybody for watching. All the stuff we discussed, the blog post will go live right after this stream is over, or 5 minutes after that. Gabriella has created a lot of awesome guides. So all the things we showed today, S3 Box installation, S3 Box customization, printing templates for your kids. They're all going to be guides that will help you do that step by step. They're very thorough, very good.
There are things,
industry.
there are things that we didn't show because they make no sense showing during a demo, but for example, if you fail to do a step, for example, if the box is not able to connect to the Wi-Fi, or if Home Assistant is not able to detect the box, you will have errors on the screen with QR codes that you can flash to be able to troubleshoot the box. Of course, I'm not going to show that because it's a bit boring, but it's there. So if you have problems, usually you should be able to solve them by on your own. And yeah, so everything will be live. Everything is live or will be live when the stream is over.
Right. Wish everybody a happy holidays,
Happy
and
holidays.
we'll see everyone next year for the release party.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.